Well, alright, I've been on a real big three-wheeler kick lately, and I think it's about time to do a complete restoration on one of my favorite childhood memories. And besides, I promised y'all I would restore an ATC, considering we chopped one up to build this bike. So if you're an old three-wheeler fan, be sure to subscribe, because we're going to have a whole lot of fun over the next few weeks bringing this guy back to life, and you don't want to miss out on the fun. This is the state it was in when we picked it up. Pretty much everything was shot on it. It didn't have an engine and was missing a ton of other stuff, but I think there's enough goodies in the parts pile to make something out of this old dog. It looks like the previous owner tried a rattle can paint job on it. Yeah, dude, that's not gonna work. The plastics were also cracked and patched together with sheet metal, glue, and some duct tape. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix the situation. This aggression will not stand, man. A little cleanup with some degreaser and the pressure washer, and we're gonna go to town on this thing with the plastic welder and see if we can't fix those cracks the right way. Nah, look at the spray paint just fly off this thing. Now that I have everything washed up, I'm just cleaning out the cracks with a little sandpaper. And making some plastic welding rods out of some scrap pieces from a busted up Honda fender from the junk pile. Now in plastic welding, I start out by melting a groove into the crack and then take my little welding rod scraps and melt them into the groove. And the trick is to get everything hot enough so it melts together so it won't delaminate. And then I melt some metal screen into the plastic along the entirety of the crack on the underside of the fender for some added support. Yeah, that should work just fine. One crack down and about 17 left to go. Let's flip it over and work on the other side. Hey, if you like what you're seeing here, please subscribe to the channel and be sure to click the notification bell so you'll know when I post new videos. Or follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or my website, BigfootBikesandBrews.com, for some exclusive sneak peeks of what I'm working on for future videos. I'm busy restoring a bunch of vintage bikes as well as working on some sweet custom builds that I want to share with you. I'm going to try to get a new video out the door early in the morning every week, so be sure to click that notification bell and have your phone ready in the morning, so you'll have something to do while you poop. So yeah, this rear fender's a real mess. Might have been better just to look for one in better condition, but well, the plastic welder's already warmed up, so we might as well get after it. Now, I was thinking it'd be cool to make a one-off video showing y'all how I fix old cracked motorcycle plastics. Something a little different than my normal videos where I just pile everything together. Now I was thinking like a slowed down 30-minute step-by-step restoration of a fender, including plastic welding, bodywork, paint, pretty much everything from start to finish. Please let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see a video like that, and if there's enough interest, I'll get right on it. Now on to the top side. I ran the plastic welder over the top of the crack to seal it up, and now I'm just sanding everything smooth with some 80 grit sandpaper. Yeah, buddy, that should prime up just nice. Now what do you think? Do you like it? If so, help a guy out and click the like button below. It'd really help out the channel if you do, and besides, why wouldn't you click the like button? I like you. I mean, if you had a like button, I'd click it, yo. Now that the cracks are repaired, I'm just going across the entire fender with some 180 grit sandpaper just to sand out all the years of scuffs and scrapes on the guy. And the rougher paper should give the primer a lot of surface area to stick to as well. It's going to need all the help it can get, because there's not much that likes to stick to this type of plastic. So yeah, that took about an entire day to do all that prep work, but I guess that's what they make beer for. Man, I gotta give a hand to all you guys and gals who do bodywork for a living. You guys rule. Now that the rear fender is finally complete, it's time to sand up the front fender. And luckily there aren't any cracks going on this guy, so it should be a breeze. Yeah, all the scratches are all sanded out and now prime up nicely. Now let's lay down some plastic adhesion promoter on the whole shebang and mix up some primer. When I'm painting old motorcycle plastics, I usually start by sanding everything down with 180 grit paper, and then I spray everything down with plastic adhesion promoter, and then finally add a light dusting of automotive epoxy primer. Now I'm not sure if this is the best way of doing things, but I've had good luck with it so far. While I was messing around, I tried a few different types of paint on a scrap fender. The top black stripe was a rattle can spray paint, and that didn't stick for crap. The gray part was my epoxy primer, that held well. The red was Krylon Fusion, and that stuck kind of better than I thought it was going to. And Plastidip, well, it's Plastidip. No, actually, I have to give Plastidip a ton of props. I've used it in the past to paint up old dirt bike plastics where a satin finish would be good enough, and the stuff actually works like a champ as long as you don't scuff it. But the good thing about Plastidip is, if you do scratch it, you can just pull it off and respray in a couple of minutes. Now after my light dusting of epoxy primer, you can see the rough sanded texture of the plastic below. So at this stage, I mix up an automotive 2K urethane primer with flex additive. The 2K primer can be built up really thick and sands really smooth. Plus it has a good amount of flex to it, so it shouldn't crack or chip if the plastics take a little beating. Now I don't know if this is the best way of doing things since I'm still a rookie, but I'd love to hear from any of the pros in the comments below. If I'm doing something totally wrong, let me know. Now that the first coat of urethane primer is set up, I'm sanding out the rough texture while making sure I don't break through to the epoxy primer below. Yeah, the areas that I sanded are looking pretty darn good. Just a little more sanding to do and I'll lay down a second coat of urethane primer. Hey, Fly. After the second coat of urethane primer is set up, I dust the surface with some black guide coat paint. Now this will ensure that I can get the primer sanded glass smooth. Now the trick is to sand off all of the black, but don't sand so much that you break through the urethane primer into any layers below. And heavens to Betsy, there's a fire outside. I'm not sure what's going on over there. I'm guessing someone's just burning some brush and the shelter belt isn't on fire. Well, that's just dandy. Well, see y'all next week. Maybe. If the garage is still here. Nah, I was just messing with y'all. It looks like the neighbor was just cleaning up some brush. So next week, we're going to continue tearing the ATC down to every last nut and bolt and see what we're actually working with here. And again, thanks to everybody who stuck around for the whole video. If you like it, please click the thumbs up below and leave a comment. I'd love to chat with y'all. I'm guessing this restoration will be about 4 or 5 videos, and if you subscribe and hit the notification bell, you won't miss out on the fun. See you next week. Alright, I hope you liked this episode of Bigfoot Bikes and Brews. Click on one of the videos here if you want to see some more, and please click on the Bigfoot button to subscribe to the channel and join in on the fun. See you next week.